Hey guys, Ground back here, and today we have a very different video for you. So a few days ago, or weeks, I don't really remember, on Twitter, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures was trending, not for any good reason. Someone made a tweet talking about how it had one of the worst openings of all time, and as you can see, it got a lot of attention, with almost 70,000 likes, and around 10,000 retweets altogether. I personally don't think it's the worst. I think there are far worse intros out there. Something like Breadwinners comes to mind. But that's not what's important here. Because, Twitter, makes fun of something every other day, so that's nothing new. However, due to all of this Pac-Man slander, it awakened someone legendary. Someone interesting. Someone who is the best spoken author of our time, maybe even the greatest writer since someone like William Shakespeare. And I'm, of course, tagged with the man, the myth, the legend, Brew profile picture. After someone else made a quote tweet talking about the disastrous effect the tweet has had on the human species, they left a legendary response with more than 60 replies. And you know what? I haven't read it yet, but I'm interested because I really want to know what kind of dedication it takes and what someone has to say about the Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures slander. Now, granted, you're probably wondering why I'm not actually on Twitter, and that's because my laptop's being weird for whatever reason. It's not letting me record my audio on Twitter for whatever reason, but it is working on Discord. So naturally, I did the logical response. I made a Blue profile picture appreciation server, and I put all of the screenshots here so I could read them here and react to them to you guys. Now, if you see my other videos on some of those Yu-Gi-Oh! Pack openings, you should know that I have this mental disability where I have a hard time saying words correctly, and it's like a serious condition. It's also a little contagious. So you just watching the video, it's gonna make you more literate as well. So sorry about that, but also I don't really care. If you know me, you already know what you're getting into. And yes, I did take all the screenshots in light mode on Twitter. Cry about it. But I think that's enough stalling. Let's get on to this. Alright, here we go. Unaware of the Pac-Man memes, I thought you were referring to the blasphemous, ridiculous, and unfortunate opinion that the brilliant, innovative, and undoubtedly world-changing theme song of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures was even close to that, foolishly believing that you rightfully thought their tweet had a disastrous effect on the human mind. As the opinion dwindled away the human psyche for music interpretation. I liked your tweet, but after closer analysis of your replies, I now understand you dislike the Pac-Man memes. This is expectingly disappointing, as I once believed you were a righteous individual, and the next thing I know, you are hating on everyone's beloved childhood cartoon. Infuriating to say the least. But my view of your perspective only worsened, as I realized your terror had only began. I have realized you do not only dislike the incomparably excellent Pac-Man memes, but also believe the theme song to be bad. An outrageous opinion. I could only expect this from an alt-right conspiracy theorist. To which any like-minded person would shiver at. Furthermore, your tweet attracting so much success is considerably concerning, as you can further manipulate the good American and European, no Australians or New Zealanders by the way, those people suck, into your extremist beliefs. Because of my fear you might cultivate a group of forbidden Pac-Man haters, I have chosen to unlike your post. Rightfully unliking posts, it's not something I do very often, as I am a very likable individual, in the sense that I find others, as well as alien concepts, quite likable. Pretty based. Not in the sense that I am liked myself, as that could not be further from the truth. Over the period of the last 7 months, I have held myself to vow to never unlike a post, which I have followed quite closely. Over the last few months on Twitter, which have been unexplainably unbearable, I have accidentally liked hundreds of photos, featuring the most degenerate photos of... Ooh, what can these be photos of? I'm interested. Wait, did I miss it? Photos of... Wait, no, I didn't miss it. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, yet you and your terrible opinion have finally broken my vow in opposition to the good of the people and to the good of the world, no pun intended. And that leads me to the reason I preach and to the reason I care and ask. I want you to change. A president of the Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures fandom page on Fandom. I have seen inside and outside of the community you fear most. You may at furries, dream stands, BTS, but your new obsession has clearly overtaken you, and your morals as well. I am not one to lie. And so I must be honest in what I am going to preach next. The Pac-Man community is very good. I have seen them fund hundreds of charities, which is all the minorities in need. Yet I didn't mention the South American, or just Latin American, and African and Asian people like above and the other thing, but that doesn't matter. I'm just being nitpicky. I have seen them hold the weak over their shoulders and reach that cherry in the maze as always. But as I have promised to be honest, I must confess, for all I may shy away from your unintelligible ideologies regarding Pac-Man, my pledge to honesty is vastly more important. Okay, I read it right the first time. The Pac-Man fandom is not without its terrors, shadows, or skeletons, as philosophers are sometimes terrors, shadows, and skeletons. It's kinda spooky. Have said throughout generations, there are always bad apples in the bunch. In some odd way, I somewhat understand your troubling view on Pac-Man. I have seen what its fans are capable of. I myself may be the most reasonable, so take everything I say with more than a grain of salt. I have seen the Pac-Man fans throw elderly out of windows. I have seen them run into burning buildings to lock the doors of traumatized victims. Because as we know, when a building's on fire, like clear the locked doors, it's holding them back. I do not know how to pronounce that word. I am what they call an illiterate, so I will call it wait, no, that's egregious. What am I talking about? I know how to say. I'm not editing this out. You guys, just like Blue PFP, I am also very honest. So, back to the reading. Any egregious action has likely been committed by a Pac-Man fan. However, I would like to make this very clear. We, as a fandom, do not accept the minority as bad doers, As philosophers of separate generations, there will always be a wait. Because when we already read this part, whatever. That cherry in the bunch, And through the grand scheme of things, they still often offer an extra life once ate. The ghost will always catch up in the end. Help! I'm not choosing to write this. I need help too, by the way. I'm messing up a lot. And I'm only halfway back. Here we go. The Pac is back. Goes chomping at his feet. Pac's our hero. Pac just can't be beat. Yeah! Pac-Man Yellow. Pac-Man Extreme. He's chowing down machine. He's a chowing down machine. Ghost monsters, ghouls, and only one can stop them. Pac-Man rules. The Pac is back. Goes chomping at his feet. Pac's our hero. Subscribe to Groundback. If we look at society from a selfish point of view, the flaws in our system become scarily aware. But it's best not to let this consume your core values into pessimistic ones. That's why I always try to be optimistic, and also why I was so surprised with my reaction to your terrible tweet regarding my favorite Yo show. Sure, it was bad, but did it warrant me to lend my opinion? After evaluating, my opinion ultimately did not matter, and that it will end up as nothing but dust in the wind. I could answer my question with clear 19 out of 30. Continuous or consciousness or I'm just gonna pretend I said it right the first time, even though I probably didn't. After taking a break and letting calm bring me back to the position of safety, especially from all the discrimination I was speculating from Pac-Man haters, I have just the thing to justify my opinion. And to do so, we must use history as a fundamental way of assessment. In World War II, a vicious war fought almost exclusively for freedom only a century ago. In a important way, fascists expressed their radical ideas and engraved themselves deeply into the hearts of the vulnerable was through an unprecedented propaganda campaign. Today, similar things are happening through media, which, yes, includes social media. That's why media is in the name. Though to a significantly less significant degree of significantness. To do a more substantial diversity of opinion, pun not intended, unfortunate. I'd never compare your hate of the Pac-Man song to such as in World War II. But furthermore, my mental health has been on the declining state since the start of COVID. You and me both, mister. And I know many can relate to such cause me. See? Relate. See? He knows I relate to him. Or her. Or they, or them. Sorry for assuming genders. Such caused me to step down as president. Okay, okay, that caught me out guard. Such caused me to step down as president. Resign, if you will, from my position as president of the Pac-Man fandom page and erase all evidence I ever had that. Honestly thought you meant president of the United States, and I was about to... That's also good. Jesus Christ. Position. This will hopefully prove that my word comes from a place of good faith and well intention. Europe as well. but not any of those contents with those so-called minorities. I hope I have proven myself as a credible source and a heroic, valiant one at that. So with the foundation and coherent, understandable resume, I shall now make my controversial placement in this conversation very clear. The Pac-Man theme song fucking rocks. And fuck you if you say otherwise. God bless America. And God bless America too. I rest my case. And again, screw those minorities that the Pac-Man community saves. Not my cup of tea. So that was a pretty good read, wouldn't you say? Now, I was pretty sad. I thought, oh no, he finished. I keep saying he, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your pronouns not being respected, unless they are. I need to keep calling you, I don't know what pronouns you want, so I'm just going to assume you're above pronouns. So I'm just going to say blue, instead of saying he, she, or they, alright? We go with that? Okay, good. So, I was sad that blue wasn't going to make any more, replies, but then, a hero said this. Keep talking. So they did. So now we can resume. I am bad at the English language, unlike Blue PFP. Before I begin, I want to clearly emphasize how seriously I take feedback, though I am absolutely sure my opinion is correct due to decades of experience. Dating back to when I was a wee boy playing my favorite yellow game at the arcade, opinions mean nothing if I don't listen to the masses. I want to preface that I have read through all replies and criticisms and have pondered them utterly and totally. The first I laid my eyes on was yours, and I cherish your request for me to speak more on my passion of Pac-Man. I will accept your... Wait, did I miss one? I will accept your... I guess I didn't. I will accept your doom with great pleasure and continue my defense of my favorite yellow show, pun not intended again. I also appreciate the picture of the cat you included in your reply, though I cannot fully interpret whether it is a threatening stance or otherwise. Now, into the words of subconscious deviant who simply blessed me with the word of God. I greatly appreciate the blessing, as I am a disciple of Christ, the believer of faith myself, yet you fucking swore in your previous replies. I unfortunately cannot accept your blessing. However, as I am unaware whether or not you have been baptized, but you do create change today, I am proud to announce tomorrow, when I enter the doors of my church, and after I receive the blood and body of Jesus himself, sing the songs of the holy choir, though I'd rather they sing Pac-Man theme song, the Pac-Man theme song, and pray in silence. My peers, I will watch as the numbers in the church dwindle with extra faith in my heart. With your courageous blessing, you have inspired me to enter confessions where I will finally admit my recent sins to my Father. This is something I plan to postpone, but, okay, there we go, it finally worked. But I believe I have a newfound strength to walk through the tapestry. And I think that's what it is. Tape Street? Tape Great. I'm going to. tape straight. I'm just gonna say that. Tape straight and speak from the heart to the man who first baptized me all those years ago. His name was Bob. I rather appreciate Bob. But first, I must admit my sins to the Pac-Man community, as that is more important than religion could ever bear on me. Last night, as the sun approached the horizon and the moon gazed towards the soon starry night sky, I drove 40 miles to a mall to the east. This was my first sin in times impending inflation. I used the Earth's natural resources for my selfish benefit. But at the time, I believed it to be necessary. I was expecting a short European man. I always make sure to buy from shorties. To be coached behind 3 lopsided garbage bins on the far right side of the mall. This was my second sin. I should have got one from a tall person instead. I was running late in the Pac-Man business. You never run late. Oh, and it was 2 minutes behind the dot when I parked my car, a short distance always from the mall's parking lot. This was my third sin. I didn't follow parking law or road etiquette. I consider myself to be a very lawful man and respectful driver. Okay, now I get the pronouns, okay. But, I already made a big deal about making your pronouns blue, so I'm sticking with that. Do you deal with it, I guess? Anyhow, I texted the European if he was still there. It took him 2 minutes to reply. Quite ironically. Perhaps cynical in retrospect, but he finally replied with a message of agreement. This was it. I wasn't the president of the Pac-Man fandom for nothing. I exited my car under eerie glow of street lamp. But luckily, the streets were empty. This was my fourth sin. I broke my belief of luck as a concept not existing as laws of physics in fear despite the mishap. I had made my way around the mall, and when I realized my gaze... Wait, gaze? Oh no, grape! How did I read that as gaze? I made my way around the mall, and I realized my grave mistake. I had walked to the far left side of the mall, and not the far right. My fifth was the large sin of the night. I was devastated. I didn't want to be communist. But I guess that's how things had to be. My mistake was ultimately inconsequential. However, as my highest hopes were filled when I had reached the far right side of the mall, finally, the short European man was there. To understand the next happening, you need to understand the founding principle of the Pac-Man fandom. Silence is key. What happens in Pac-Man? And it's true. Silence is the key. So all those times when I, have to go to a new screenshot, and there's like that 1 second of silence, I'm doing that for respect. It's not because I don't know how to edit, it's because, it's respectful and you should be doing it. Alright, next one. Stays in Pac-Man. The European handed me an eager... That word again. Wait, I remember this word. How did I forget it? No! Atrociously. There we go. Atrociously. I will learn this word. You guys will not bully me. You guys will not send me and say like, hey Grandpa, does this scare you? And you just have a screenshot of the word, alright? You're gonna stop doing that, or you haven't done it. Yeah, well, keep it that way. The European handed me an egregiously large duffel bag, quite heavy as expected, which I let rest on the garbage bin to my right. I used my fandom provided key to open the bag, and everything was to par. Hundreds of cherries, strawberries, oranges, apples. It was all there. I closed and resealed the bag, and stared the shorty straight through his skull. What? He gave me a nod towards my pocket, where I kept my money. I reached for it and was horrified at my findings. The money was gone. How could this happen? What a twist. Was a thought repeatedly introduced in my mind. And then I remembered the inflation. I had spent all of my money on gas. This was not, however, my sin. As president of the Pac-Man fandom, I have learned to become great at negotiation. My sixth and the final sin was my expiration. The moment, damn, was the camels that backed the pocket straw. That had to be intentional. I broke the unspoken rule of silence. In just 2 minutes, the European man whipped out his pistol and was ready to, end my political career. But I could not let that happen. Nobody could do my job as good as me. In the last 2 minutes, I took him to reach for his gun and aim it in my direction. I had already jumped behind him and seized his attack. And what happened next, I know for sure, cannot be said on this website. Let's just say, for the hundreds and hundreds of trash bags, with context out of the way, I can finally say goodbye to my God blessing and move to the fearsome critics that dare to defy my efforts and achievements. Error Intaglio asks where the last tweets of my thread were, 25 to 29. To be exact, the explanation is rather simple. I ate them. To back my word, I usually provide evidence in the form of video and imagery. In my case, that involved the uncensored war footage gathered outside of documentary and 4 videos depicting counts of arson from the hands of the Pac-Man community. I was very excited to present my conclusive and undeniable evidence. But when I tried to include them in the thread, Twitter warned me I may be posting offensive content and risk of ban. Unfortunately, I hold my life, which solely exists in this platform, over my dignity. Rare Blue PFPL. I had to. I just want to take that back. Blue PFP is awesome. Scrap my last tweets and skip to tweet 30, which I had prepared 6 hours before I realized my findings. No pun intended. I don't even know what pun was there. Just imagine those tweets as the best you have seen on the platform, decisively providing absolute proof of every single one of my claims. Now to the criticism from Armidas. Also, I did not see anyone else respond to these. I would have posted their comments beforehand if I knew they were there, but I didn't. So, I'll just link this entire discussion in the description. But back to the reading. To call it in response to my brilliant observations, the video with audio enabled describes Armidas' unwillingness to read what I had to say. This may be the only criticism I actually agree with. Where am I now? I lost track. Wait, no, wait. Oh, wait. Actually, I think this is where I am. Oh, crap, I lost track. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, yes, this is it. I am a proud political advocate. I helped decide with a groundbreaking degree, and I may or may not have eventually read this ground back in almost, well, let's just move on. Degree by changing my Twitter banner to what I believe in. And illiteracy, as well as lack of education, is a largely important issue in today's world. That's why I don't blame that name again, I'm not going to try to pronounce, for the political conjugative issues and lack of reading skills, and rather sympathize with them, the others in American and European who face the same issues. Australians might be facing the same issues too, but we don't really care about them. Now, I likely to shortly thank Ace Attorney Bot for being so kind as to manually configure my statements in a video. Did not know they did that. Okay, that's also something I, probably should. I'll send that to you, alright? Format for accessibility. I would also like to thank Ignore Me, a true and honest Pac-Man, for sticking up for what is right, forever and always adapting the same mindset, the mindset hero Pac-Man has in the Pac-Man the Ghostly Adventures. Truly honorable. Brilliant, really. Big Gob's criticism, or rather opinion, and contrary, quite confused me. It seemed like they were mentioning my good and hard-working friend Ace Attorneybot inappropriately, making advances toward him? Oh my. I am not sure what else I am supposed to infer from the word render. Renderer is a scary word. Disgusting. Honestly, man's had some very valuable feedback, requesting me to never delete my thread and always stick up for what is right. Unfortunately, as much as I will try valiantly to keep my thread alive, as well as like a starving animal, there is always a risk of being blamed for spam. I hope if Twitter sees this, specifically Elon Musk, who I have met frequently in the Pac-Man business, they, as a prosperous corporation, can understand that I am not actually using any copy pasta, and that I am simply diagnosed with borderline soci. Soci is like the opposite of my disorder where I can't read words. They are actually very good at speaking words. I wish they can teach me their ways. Yeah. Soci now. A frequent question asked by many, I'd consider soldiers of the Pac-Man Ghostly Force. Such names as Noah, Bad Doctor, and Jamal have questioned my use of 130 in my first tweet. To properly address this, I must split my response in two sections. Section 1, the necessity. I believe wholeheartedly, it absolutely, no pun. I do not understand what puns you're referring to. And that adding page numbers, as some would call them, to my tweets is necessary. Otherwise, my thread may appear overly long and convoluted, which it is clearly not, only less than 30 tweets. As someone who, had to, screenshot all of this because I couldn't, go on it on, Twitter for whatever reason, I also greatly appreciate you numbering your, responses. It makes it a lot easier for me. It makes it a lot easier for me to keep track where I am. So, yeah. Let's keep going. And see? Since I can see 33 here, I know where it was. Just ignore that one time I had a hard time finding it. Section 2, Apology. This is my first, and hopefully my very last apology on this platform. With feedback from my bestie Little Spray and others, I truly should have made my thread longer. A short thread is like a short man, European, and slow to assassinate. That was weirdly ominous. Amara was another face who criticized the short length of my thread, and I will, much to my own spite, but in respect to my dignity, agree. They also made a bold claim. Moving your finger in your ear creates a similar sound to Pac-Man. As a Pac-Man aficionado, I can confidently strike these claims down with a sling of mental hammer as follows. First of all, putting your finger in your ear is disgusting, even if it is itchy. It is even mocked in Oscar award-winning film Shrek, which is only slightly below Pac-Man's show on IMDb. Secondly, Pac-Man doesn't have ears. He's a pizza. We all know, though a counter-argument is that when you eat pepperoni with bacon, sausage, and ham, those are all made from animals who used to have ears. And for all you know, you could be eating part of the ears. So maybe Pac-Man does have ears. You don't know. Stop judging. Now another individual who I'd like to thank from my heart is Adriana, who spread my word in a time of fear and mass manipulation. In a time where a tyrant exploiting the minds of the innocent Pac fans. And I can confidently strike these. Wait. Oh no, I already read that. Sorry. Turning into ravenous and vicious Packins? Unbelievable. Sickening. But with bad comes good. And Adrian is without a doubt a model citizen. Perhaps the model citizen, since Lincoln has been dead for a long time now. Runa Sakura, in contrast, said something now to an individual I was worried about mentioning. Kef. Oh no, not Kef. Twitter, as it does, silence Kef's fantastic feedback, keeping it astray from my eyes, and it was contained sensitive content. As I wonder why this is, after spending some time on their profile, I can confidently, making sure I don't click on the same one again, say with my research skills in full force, my initial assumptions were correct. As philosophers have said for generations, sometimes you do judge a book by its cover. I disabled sensitive content on Twitter for some courageous reason to block all of that gay furry porn. Base! Screw that gay furry porn. Not literally though. Who am I kidding? I was so distracted after doing the game furry porn that I completely lost track of time itself, writing a /30 instead of the far more accurate /60. Maybe I should unblock sensitive content. Perhaps the gay furry porn isn't a valid reason anymore. I can't. I only have 3 individuals to respond to before I conclude this era of hope. First, Megacharge. Megacharge responded with a moving image of Kanye West. After looking disappointed, but that's why I so appreciate a Megacharge tweet. Perhaps Megacharge tried to use a good word of Kanye, whom some may prefer as the good word of God. No pun intended. You know what? You keep seeing puns here, you do you. I don't see any puns, but maybe that's a good thing. Against me, but that is a depressing way to view the world. Such a view being very damaging in the America and Europe of today. Again, other continents exist. There is more than just America and you're up. You literally mentioned minorities in your thread. What the hell? Anyway, the way I saw things with the goodwill of Kanye. In mine was an impressively clever evaluation of Kanye's psyche. Did you know Kanye once was able to add himself on Mount Rushmore using his mind? I bet you didn't. Kanye is a historically and theoretically musical way confusing person to understand, so his confusion may actually be of the uttermost excitement. This point is further backed up by my doctorate in music theory in position as vice president of the Kanye West fandom wiki. The Emperor responded with a threat of night terrors, of which I have many since purchased those trash bags from SD. I learned how to cut exotic meat even as a pescatarian, so I am... Why isn't it working? I am not too concerned about the ramifications of my dreams. I am more so interested in the emperor themselves, of which an emperor only still exists in Japan, and soon the emperor of Groundback will lead another small country, but that's a video for another day. Interestingly enough, so I am quite giddy about a world leader responding to my tweet. Though that is not too uncommon. After all, I have been to many unpublicized United Nations meetings when I was the president of the Pac-Man fandom wiki, and I am excited about other potential upcoming events when I inevitably take the crown of president of Kanye West wiki fandom. I also support, this guy becoming the president of the 2024 election, just saying. Finally, Silvercat needs to provide more context to the question of what? As that is not how English sentences are typically articulated. In respect to location, upbringing, and primary language. In conclusion, these are my absolute final words on all matters. I am sorry for skipping tweet numbers. I promise that will never happen again. And if it does, and if there is a gap between the last tweet and this one, there is more arson and more footage. Remember, the pack is back. And there we go. That was an entire dramatic reading of the Blue PFP's response to the Pac-Man genocide. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I do not plan on editing this. I think it's funny to see how many times I messed up. And if you want to see this thread, I'll link it below. I'll also link the Ace Attorney thing. I'll also link Blue PFP's profile. Because, he put a lot of work into this. And, damn it, Blue put a lot of work into this. And we gotta give them respect. And, I'll also be linking the Blue profile picture appreciation server. Obviously, this needs to be respected as well. And lastly, if you enjoyed what you saw here, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, and showing this to your friends, telling them how cool I am. I plan on starting my podcast series soon, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of me jobbing and also having fun with my friends. But until next time, bye.